This is Money, Motivation, and Mike, and I am your host, Michael Wainwright. In charge of the mothership is Jason Wright. And hello to you, world. This is the show that will change your life. You can find us and contact us at info@mx3.vip and find all of our content at mx3.vip or on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@MX3 Podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for all of our new content, which comes out every Monday morning around 9 o'clock. And Jason, just this last week, since our last recording, I've had more people tell me that they're hitting the subscribe button over and over and over again. Good. All right. And obviously our statistics, our channel now approaching 30,000 subscribers. We're at 24,201 today. Is that right?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yep.
Okay. It's probably been more than that. When you printed this out for me, that's where we were. We're probably approaching 25,000 now. Thank you, listening and viewing audience. In this particular case, it's the viewing audience. I've got a couple of things here. We've got a reaction video that I wouldn't say totally disagree with, but it definitely did get my attention. And Jason found it, and he knew it would get my attention. So we'll go over that for a minute. Hey, one quick note that I left out on basketball, which is unique. You look at the basketball players these days, and I'm going back to the NBA episode from last week, that all these different numbers, 00 to 99. See, back in the olden days, the highest number you could have on a basketball court was 55. Because when the referees go to the scores table to give out the number, they go 5-5. So 4-4, 2-3, giving out the number of the person who committed the foul. So we couldn't do 77. They were, they're standing over there 40 feet away, and they put up 2-3 for 23. And I just use that because that was Michael Jordan, who we know didn't get called for all the fouls that he committed, and got calls of a lot of phantom fouls against him. Now, still the greatest player in the world, and always will be, in my opinion, until someone else comes along. But right now, that was just a point that I forgot to put out there that is very interesting. You couldn't be Luka Doncic right now, number 77. Couldn't be that number 25 years ago. The referees wouldn't allow it. All right. Let's move on here to another, what is this, a service announcement, since I'm going to talk for a moment about the silent killer, and it can be stopped. And I'm talking about high blood pressure in the heart here for momentarily. And there's a couple of myths out there. Actually, we're going to go over 5 myths about high blood pressure today, and then get into this reaction video. And of course, this high blood pressure and the heart situation is an area that hits Jason and I very strong, because our family has had a very difficult time with high blood pressure and heart attacks, etc. And we have numerous uncles who have died of heart attack. Our grandfather, we even have an uncle that had a heart transplant that lived another 10 years with an 18-year-old's heart. So lots of things going on there. Our grandfather died of heart attack at 46. Our biological sperm donor had his first heart attack at 46 and triple bypass at 51. Now, I'm very excited about the fact that I'm 55 years old and have not had any of those type of issues. I have stayed on top of maintenance for a good 20, 25 years, knowing the history within this family. But I will tell you, when I turned 46 years old, I had 911 on redial for the whole 12 months. I have never more in my life been interested in turning 47 years old, because of knowing what the father and the grandfather did at age 46 with one of them dying. So thank you, Jesus, once again, for letting me make it to this far. In our family, there's only been one male in the Wright family make it to age 75. Is that not now, this is over the last 150 years. The elder statesmen in the family, going back as far as they could remember to what would be our great grandfathers along the way, only had one male make it to age 75. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, the ladies have all made it into the 90s because they didn't have to put up with the males anymore. I know for a fact.
You think so?
Oh, stubborn, hard-headed. Yep, absolutely. The silent killer. There are many misconceptions about high blood pressure. Now, in this particular case, ignorance is not bliss. In fact, it can kill. So you have to be on top of this. And here's those 5 myths. Myth number 1, it's no big deal. Totally bogus. The problem with high blood pressure initially is there are no symptoms. That's why it's called the silent killer. You don't feel bad, so obviously nothing can be wrong. Totally a myth, not the case. The truth is, when blood flow begins to push too hard against your blood vessels, it can lead to damage of the heart, kidneys, and other organs in the body. High blood pressure is very big deal indeed. So it's no big deal. Myth number 1, not true. Myth number 2, there is no good treatment. Many people feel there's nothing they can do about high blood pressure. The truth is, there's absolutely you can. You just got to have a sensible plan. You have to manage your high blood pressure. Obviously, there are things like exercise and eating proper foods. Yeah, you can't eat chicken fried steaks and cheeseburgers and fried foods every day and expect for your blood pressure to stay low. Myth number 3, a little high blood pressure is okay. When you take your blood pressure readings, you probably notice they vary somewhat. And by the way, Jason, how often do you take your blood pressure?
2 or 3 times a week.
Okay. I take mine daily, and taking it 2 to 3 times a week is more than 99% of the people do. Most people check it when they go to the doctor. And they've got some very technical machines out there these days that are very well priced at your local pharmaceutical stores that you could be sitting there and getting really good readings. Now, what my doctor has told me is to bring that machine in and let him do it the old-fashioned way and then compare it to my machine so you know that the readings are correct. You also probably notice with these machines that there are 2 numbers, one at the top, one at the bottom. Normal readings, 119 below for the top number, 79 or below for the bottom number. Some people believe that as long as these numbers are normal, you're okay. The truth is, if either your blood pressure numbers is above normal, you need to do something right away. You're checking that thing every week and it's 130, you need to go and you need to evaluate. We're not looking for something to go into 150. If it's above, now maybe your blood pressure, and all this is not only coming from the information I have today, but also the checkups that I have gotten on a regular basis for the last 25 years. It's not something to play around with. Myth number 4, high blood pressure cannot be prevented. This idea is dead wrong. Even if everyone in your family has high blood pressure, you and me, Jason, this doesn't mean nothing to you. Simple changes, as I've already talked about, within your diet, limiting salt intake, and keeping your weight under control can help you prevent high blood pressure. That all takes effort. And a whole lot of us like to lay around on the couch and eat Twinkies. Myth number 5, treatment is difficult. Most people think that treatment of high blood pressure requires giving up all your favorite foods, engaging in some crazy exercise plan, or taking dangerous and expensive drugs. While you do need to make changes to get your blood pressure under control, those changes do not have to be difficult or unpleasant. A natural high blood pressure solution that's easy and fun is what you should be engaged in. Medical research team by Joe Barton produced a video presentation explaining safe, natural methods anyone can use to help control blood pressure. Now, we don't have that video today, but Joe Barton, people need to go out and Google Joe and look at his video. Because when you watch the video, you may be surprised to find that the best treatments of your high blood pressure might already be inside your kitchen cabinets. And they probably are. Maybe the trash bag needs to go over there and you start throwing some of that stuff away. You might also be delighted to find out how easy, tasty, and enjoyable it is and can be to get to the root of your cause and even prevent your own high blood pressure from escalating. It's the number one concern that I have on a health basis every day. And most people know that I run pretty high string a lot of that time. And that anxiety and that pressure and that stress, I believe 100% that you've got to try to find a way to minimize that in your life as well. So living a better life, and as we say here, living your life the right way, would include trying to reduce the stress and anxiety and all those kind of things. It's a lot easier said than done. Something I've struggled with for the 55 years of my life. But high blood pressure, if you're not doing it, you need to check on it and get with your local family physician and get that under control. We are big supporters of the American Heart Association as well. Okay, Jason, this video that you have been wanting me to see for almost a week now. Mm-hmm. This is Professor Scott Galloway from New York University, downtown Manhattan. He just wrote a book on the algebra of wealth. So let's crank it up. Let's get it on. Talking about the percentage of children earning more than their parents by year of birth, starting in, and he just went from 1940, and it looks like almost into the 1990s, and how many children are earning more than their parents. All right, roll the video.
What we're talking about on campuses. For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People aged 30 to 30.
Total BS, in my opinion. And I know this is a touchy subject. Now, as Jason and I talked off the air, the things that have created. He went with a person in 30 years old, and he just said that the reason that 30-year-olds and below are not doing as well is a social breakdown. I've never looked at society to decide what I'm going to try to go out and accomplish today. So right now, right off the bat, I feel like that's a crutch. Jason, anytime you think you need to interact here, you feel free to.
60% of them in 1990 had one child. Now it's 27%. People are opting out of America. They're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids. Young people aren't having sex.
Okay. Why is that? Now, I'm not really for sure you have one child or you have 4 children. And I know back in the olden days, we had a lot of children because 80% of the country was working on a farm or a ranch and running the crops and the produce, etc. And that's now down below 20%. So our society has changed in that category. All right. When you don't have social media and you don't have the means to go to the movies and you don't have the means to go out to eat every night, as we all know, they had other things that they had to do around the house. I mean, there was a reason that the windows all directed in the same direction, the north and south, in most cases down in the south part of the country, so the wind would blow through. They didn't have air conditioner. They weren't worried about the luxuries of life that this 30-year-old and below bunch thinks that they're entitled to every day. So why are people having less sex? Too many other things that they can do. And I know for a fact that they teach this in high school. Pornography is a big part of why younger people are not having sex.
They're not mating. The pool of emotionally and economically viable men shrinks every day, which lessens household formation. So we have a real issue. Young people are enraged. So it turns every cut,
Young people are enraged because they're not having more sex? Young people are enraged. What are they enraged over? Because they have more opportunity than any generation that has ever come along in the history of the United States of America?
Movement into an opportunistic infection because, quite frankly, they are just pissed off.
Pissed off. I'm pissed off because I'm going to ask you a question, Jason. Mm-hmm. When was the last time you saw a 15-year-old boy or girl mowing a yard?
It's definitely been a while. Besides my kids?
Yeah, there you go. And I'm sitting here, the question just came to my mind. I can't tell you the last time I remember it.
They look up, they see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries, and they are really struggling. Their purchasing power is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. We take pride in rejecting 90.
Here's the reason, in my opinion, their purchasing power is going down. All right? Now, my first apartment was $285 a month. That was in 1991. I know it costs more than that today. But I've also got a friend who still pays around $600. Modest means, got plenty of things to do, makes an average income. An average income that a 30-year-old could be making right now. And he's out there doing hard manual labor. And he's 55 years old, just like I am. Here's the deal. He don't have to go to Starbucks every day to get his coffee. He don't have to go out to the Chipotles of the world and the Chick-fil-A's and the McDonald's and have $15 meals. He doesn't have to have the things. He didn't have to have a $2,000 apartment in the outskirts of downtown Dallas. He's not worried about having $200 internet. He's got the lower budget.
Percent of our applicants, so the incumbents who already have a degree see the degree go up in value. We get very concerned with housing and traffic once we own the housing. Housing permits are sequestered from young people. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years. So a young person, a house, stocks that I don't own, skyrocket in value. Let's have COVID relief and flush the markets and take
COVID relief. All right. And frankly, these $500 and $1,000 and $1,400 checks, I wasn't in favor of, and I thought they were a joke as well. It's probably one of the only things that I've ever agreed with Dave Ramsey, who, nevertheless, we won't get into all that today. But it's the society, it is the generation of handouts. Now, I'm going to go over the government and how the government has somehow also put this into their mind as well.
Assets way up because if 1 million people dying would be bad, it would be tragic if I got less wealthy. And we're doing it on their credit card. Young people.
What does that mean? We've been mortgaging the future in this country at this government for a long, long time. Mortgaging the future. But now he says that we're getting wealthy on their credit card. Okay. The society that of the 30-year-old and below, they are the big supporters of helping the world. They are the big supporters of sending trillions of dollars to certain areas around the world. Not the older generation. And I'm putting myself into the older generation. I believe we need to take care of the people right here in the United States of America first. But they're okay with picketing at the university. And what, Jason? Do they even know what they're talking about? Do they even know why they're picketing?
No, I don't think they fully understand. I don't think they've done the research.
We got 100 kids out there, and maybe 5 of them know why they're actually doing it.
Yeah.
But Bobby and Joe's doing it, and I'm friends with Sally. I'm gonna go do it too.
Mm-hmm.
People have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them, and then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing, that they are.
Society has been a ladder since the beginning of time. And you go up that ladder for success in your life. There are reasons people go to public schools, and there are reasons people go to private schools. There are reasons that people drive $10,000 used cars, and there are reasons that people drive $100,000 sports cars. It's called, what do you want to do today? Do you want to change? Do you want to do something different? I don't think it really has anything to do with being 25 years old. And I've got some of those own examples very, very close to me in my own life of same opportunities and some getting some out of it and some not getting anything out of it at all. And I know I continue to cut into this where you're trying to pick up the clips, but this guy, to me, I'd love to have Scott Galloway on this show, and I know he would probably never do that, because he's on Morning Joe here with MSNBC, and I haven't heard Morning Joe here say anything back to him to contradict what he's saying. And I think you told me offline, Jason, that there's a lot of believable people that believe in his thought process right here. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Are not doing as well as everyone around them. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious and more depressed and more obese and more addicted.
More obese. Okay. I understand. And we've talked about mental illness on this show more than once, and you can't see mental illness. And we have, I'm sure a lot of people have went through it. I know I have. And I went through mental illness at a latter part of my life within the last half a dozen years, not when I was 25 and couldn't figure out how to eat. Obese. Justin, I want to ask you a question. When was the last time you sat down in your chair and your wife come over there and put the handcuffs on you and stuffed a Twinkie and a ding dong and a chocolate cupcake in your mouth? When was the last time that happened?
Never happened.
Never happened. But it's my fault. It's society's fault that you're obese. Individual 101. What in the world is this dude talking about?
It starts with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look in the mirror, dude.
And we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen.
What? Purposeful decision to let this happen. Did you make it your intent today when you got up to make a 25-year-old gain 2 more pounds?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
By ensuring the people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young.
The people at this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people. Today's folk, today's 18-year-old. Hey, and there's one thing there is one thing that I do agree with them. And I am a huge higher education person. Why would I go to school, get a couple $100,000 in debt, be 22, 23 years old, and fight that debt for the next 15 years? I agree with that. And if you remember back in the day, we've talked about this here too before, if you had to go to the trade school, you were underprivileged. You were settling for something less. If you had to go to the AC school, the electrical school, the plumbing school, and you didn't get to go to the business school, well, that is flip-flopped, because the traits that I just mentioned are in high demand, especially with the growth that is going on. There is growth going on in a big-time way right now, especially in the South. How can you not find a job that provides for you the living you want? Now, you're not going to get to live in a $2,000 condo in downtown Fort Worth, downtown Mobile, Alabama, wherever it is. Maybe you don't get to go to Disney World every year. Maybe you got to eat cheese sandwiches on the side of the road when you go on a vacation out to Western Illinois to see grandma. And I've also said this, and you know, we repeat things here, but sometimes you got to repeat. Well, actually, you've always got to repeat so that people can hear and hear and hear before it becomes a habit in their life. Unfortunately, we have a lot of repeats in our life that are not the most healthiest of habits. But this guy right here, Scott Holloway, he's downtown New York City, down there at New York University. And you are correct, Scott. $100,000 don't go a whole lot of way in Manhattan. Fortunately, majority of our population don't live in New York City. As a matter of fact, they live in the urban areas. They don't live in downtown Dallas. They don't live in downtown Los Angeles. What's the stat on that, Jason? Where most people living?
4/5 in urban areas.
80% of the people live in urban areas.
Yes.
So the farther you get from, let's just say, the central post office, the less it's going to cost to live. Unless you're living out in the gated community with the golf course, etc. I mean, but there again, that's a choice as well. There is opportunity out there for people. I don't look back on what I did or didn't have at a young age and blame that on where I'm at today based on the information that I didn't get and blah, blah, blah. There is more opportunity, more information, more knowledge, more availabilities to get all this knowledge, more people interested in helping someone get the knowledge than there's ever been before. And as we've talked about, here comes those baby boomers. It is time for their retirement. They were all good, hardworking Americans for the most part. I said all, and that's a big number. But I just don't have no clue here where Professor Galloway, and by the way, everything he's saying is backed up by statistics. So I will not, I'm not contradicting his statistics, because I'm sure the statistics are accurate and correct. And you know that a big operation like MSNBC has checked all this stuff out before they put him on their show. But why are we where we are? And I know it starts at the house. And you can say, well, you're a product of your environment. And for the most part, you are. But if the environment is not that good, eventually you got to draw a line in the sand and get away. You know, and I stare here and I look at you, Jason. You didn't go off to the university and find out all the knowledge that you have right now. And 90% of the things that we do on this show from a technology standpoint, I have no idea about. You know all that stuff. You know all the social medias and the things of that nature. You're self-taught. You didn't sit on the couch and bicker and moan because somebody wasn't showing you how to do it. You got to go out and you got to find it. All right. Nobody taught me how to do accounting. I had to go find it, which I did get to go to the university, self-taught and self-paid. But if you want to do something, you're going to be able to do it if you dig deep enough down in your soul. If you want to go and eat at Starbucks every day, get you a $5 coffee, which is still crazy to me. I don't care if you got $100 million in the bank. I'm not paying $5 for a coffee. I don't care if you got $100 million in the bank. I'm not paying $200,000 for a car. Some things, it's another day, another subject. Once again, Money Motivation Mike continues to bring you content that is of interest to you, and most of the time it is uplifting to you. Today, we've been talking about the 30-year and below, and just like what I said a while ago, I'm going to mention something here on government and the way the government and certain administrations that get into running our government. You as a 22, 23-year-old, there are more programs out there, more social programs out there for you to have your hand out and live off of. And in this world, the more money you make, or in the United States of America, in this country, the more money you make, the more tax you owe. So is our government leading 22-year-old Sally into that category? Absolutely yes. Because it's easier not to than it is to. It's just like with Obamacare. I don't qualify for Obamacare. You know, that is for certain threshold of income folks. Why would it not be for everybody? Why could the millionaire not get on Obamacare? Why does he not have that opportunity, or she have that opportunity? Once again, you've selected a certain amount of people. The people may be the reason you're living where you are and doing what you're doing is because of who you are. And you have not decided to change your life yet. And I know that this is a sticky topic, just like abortion's a sticky topic, on and on and on. But maybe we ought to be trying to figure out another way to help these folks. And I will also say this, the people in my category of life that have children in their 20s, my group of parents, the folks that are parents, just like I am, we have wanted more for our kids than we had. We made it easier for those kids than we had it. Our kids than we had it. We have given them, in my eyes, more opportunity than we had. But maybe because we made it so easy for them when they were 10 years old, they don't have the wherewithal at 20 to be able to take advantage of it. Some of them do, most of them don't. You can contact us, info@mx3.vip, and believe it or not, Jason, I believe I'm going to get a lot of contact this week. Find all of our content at mx3.vip and on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@mx3 Podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the icon bell to get notified of all of our content, which comes out every Monday morning around 9 o'clock. So for Jason, Money Motivation, and Mike, and everyone else who's been a part of this show, continue to live your life the right way.